So many people are getting fired that the mere sight of the CEO walking into a tech workplace sends fear throughout the company, and yet there is also a labor shortage. People are worried that the human element is missing from AI. But has the tech industry already lost the human element? The tech layoffs have hit people with long-term careers, recently promoted, high performers, people currently on a business trip, and massage therapists. Some have been notified by company-wide memo, some by email, some by LinkedIn messages, and some by no longer being able to log into their computer. If you by chance have been using the internet the last couple of years, you probably know about the tech boom that has taken the world by storm. Every other person has developed an app. 18-year-olds can drop out of college to raise a few $1,000,000 for their new tech startup that's headquarters look like a college campus. AI is taking over everything, and it promises to be the future to lead us to the promised land, to solve all our problems by replacing humanity. And if you are not working in tech, then what are you even doing with your life? But it turns out not everyone can work in tech, and this has been made crystal clear by all the tech giants that have laid off combined over 150,000 jobs in recent months. And yet, the stats say the tech industry has more job openings now than ever before. Some of the reasons why these tech companies are laying off employees are understandable, but some are just straight up weird. According to Forbes, several possible scenarios could be playing out behind the scenes. On the one hand, tech giants like Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, and Alphabet may have expanded too fast during the pandemic. Statistics show the tech industry went on a hiring spree during the pandemic. Record salaries, raging competition for top talent, and stories of lavish perks flying all over the internet, leading to increased expansion for these companies. Perhaps now the companies have suddenly realized they don't need to expand that much after all. And perhaps there's a limit to how many in-house massage therapists computer programmers actually need. So they're cutting back on the extra staff and keeping their headcount to a manageable size. But a good percentage of the laid-off workers are people with at least 11 years of experience, so there isn't any evidence to show that tech companies are laying off junior workers whose services they no longer need. But could tech companies be laying off employees because they need to cut costs? Maybe. With the metaverse, ChatGPT, and other hot, tantalizing AI for companies to invest in and develop that don't require in-house massage therapists to function at their best. On the other hand, these tech giants are probably looking for AI alternatives to the jobs that have been laid off. 28% of layoffs were from HR departments, which was one of the most affected areas. One theory is that HR jobs compared to other jobs in the tech industry can be more easily replaced with AI in some cases. Replacing HR with AI also explains why the layoffs can come so harshly if there's less HR people around to soothe the impact of all the firing. AI can help decrease the needs of HR staff by helping companies identify low-impact employees or select the most capable candidate out of a pool of applicants, albeit without the human element. Policies, KPIs, and enforcements can be automated and so on. You can even ask ChatGPT to just write you a HR policy on any given topic. Also, downsizing inherently impacts HR because less staff means less need for human resources since there are less humans. So every major layoff decreases the need for HR. On top of that, fewer recruitments means less need for HR staff. It's foreseeable that through AI, you could say, as a company, we need to save $1 million. So produce a list of the best staff to lay off to achieve this, and a list is generated with no further thought. There are, of course, some companies that change policy because of new management. A good example is Elon Musk, Twitter's new owner, who has fired at least half of the company's employees since he brought in the kitchen sink to HQ. Amid all these layoffs and readjustments, you can at least expect that if you're going to lose your job, your employer might have the decency to just not shove it in your face, right? Well, not really. Some tech employees just randomly found out they no longer have their jobs in the most bizarre situations. No explanations, no warning. Let's start with Amazon. On January 18, 2023, Amazon execs sent out memos to their employees to explain why so many of them would be losing their jobs that morning. It was the largest round of layoffs in the company's history, amounting to almost 18,000 job cuts. And the most affected departments were the devices and recruiting organizations. In his email to the employees, Doug Harrington, Amazon's worldwide retail chief, said the reason for the layoffs was that it was an important part of a wider effort to lower our costs to serve so that we can continue investing in the wide selection, low prices, and fast shipping that our customers love. I do find it odd when companies put customer spin into into a message that you no longer have a job. Basically, it can be summarized that Amazon hired more people during the pandemic to meet customer demands, and now they want to shed that cost as we return to normal. But at least the Amazon job cuts came with severance benefits, a 60-day non-working transitional period with full pay and benefits, and external job placement support. An Amazon employee from India hopped onto Twitter to talk about the effects of these massive layoffs. The truth is, you don't spend years working and interacting with people for 5 days every week and not form some kind of bond with them. So when Amazon fired over 1,000 employees from their India offices, it broke everyone. Even when you're among the people who get to keep their job, just realizing how disposable you are, a mere glorified cog in the machine, is enough to demoralize anyone. The Amazon employee's post, which has now been deleted, read, "75% of my team is gone. Although I'm in the remaining 25%, I don't feel motivated to work anymore. They are firing people in cabins, people are crying in the office." And it's not just the tech workers that were getting hit in these layoffs. HR personnel, drivers, storage staff, massage therapists, and even journalists are not spared. Take Jeff Bezos' recent visit to the Washington Post, for example. After firing about 18,000 Amazon employees, Bezos suddenly showing up at the Washington Post felt like a black cloud looming above the employees, which you can expect if people are not sure if they're going to lose their jobs or not. One employee even directly asked Bezos why the company wanted to lay off employees as opposed to offering buyouts. Bezos did not respond to this. So the employees are still waiting painfully to be fired or not. I'm convinced this is going to be a protracted, painful wait for a lot of people, a Washington Post journalist told the Daily Beast. It doesn't stop there though. Google started laying off its employees on January 20 after the CEO Sundar Pichai wrote in a staff memo that the company was laying off 6% of its global workforce. A Google Los Angeles-based lawyer, Nicholas, had been on parental leave following the birth of his daughter in the early morning hours of January 17. He shared pictures of himself cradling his daughter. His colleagues were happy for him and they all congratulated him. On January 30, Nicholas was up at 2 a.m. feeding his newborn daughter when he received an email. The email informed him that he was part of the 12,000 employees Google was laying off. He was so heartbroken about it, not just because he had just lost his job, but also because of how just a few days ago his colleagues were encouraging him to enjoy his parental leave and not worry about coming to the office. The whole time, his name was already selected as part of the people who would become jobless. Another Google employee, an engineer who had been working with the company for 5 years, found out that she had lost her job when she was on vacation, through a LinkedIn message from her manager. The company closed her access to everything work-related, and she had to piece together the news from her work friends that were checking in with her, and finally, the LinkedIn message from her manager. According to her, it was a whirlwind of emotions she experienced, from being blissfully unaware to suddenly being cut off. What a way to ruin a vacation. Justin Moore, another engineer, wrote on LinkedIn that his termination was a slap in the face. Kimberly Diaz, a YouTube employee, was literally in the middle of a business trip for the company when she realized she'd been laid off. She made a viral TikTok about it and explained how she woke up at 6 a.m. during the business trip to find that she'd been logged out of everything. She couldn't even change her flight using the company system so she could get home earlier. Her team was exceeding all their goals, there was no sign, no warning, and everything just felt off. She felt like she was being laid off out of the blue, which she was. Another employee, Leanne, an entertainment editor for Thrillist, tweeted that she learned about her getting fired on the flight back from covering the Sundance Film Festival. Google did not stop at engineers or lawyers or editors. Even their massage therapists were let go. As part of its cost-cutting initiatives, Google has been removing some office perks and bonuses employees previously enjoyed, including lift subsidies, in-office dry cleaning, covering trip expenses for company social events, and professional massage services during work hours. They laid off 31 massage therapists in total. So the Google employees who evaded the mass layoffs will just have to continue their jobs waiting a little bit longer to use the remaining on-site massage therapists. Some of the employees Google laid off were long-term employees. Some had just recently been promoted, so everything felt just horribly bad for everyone involved. It didn't help matters that the only explanation the company offered was, "Hey, we're downsizing, so you'll have to go home now." And all of these layoffs seem to have worked out well for the companies, as stats show that just days after some of these tech giants laid off their employees, their stocks surged. For example, Spotify stocks increased by 5%. Just hinting that Meta might do further layoffs saw stocks increase 20% in one day, and Alphabet shares jumped by 5%. Overall, tech stocks are expected to rise by about 20% this year. So we can only hope all those tears and heartbreaks were worth it in the end. And more importantly, the longer wait for a massage at Google. If you made it this far, you'll also enjoy one of these other videos too.